Welcome to Here's the Thing.
The only podcast where we look at box office bombs turned cult classics.
Here's the thing. Every spring we thaw out a new bunch of podcasters, so every episode has 100% mortality rate. My name is Joey.
I'm Lachlan.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Rachel. This episode we discuss John Carpenter's psychological monster film, The Thing. Simply summarized, The Thing revolves around a group of male American scientists out in the Arctic that are threatened once they discover an assimilating creature known as The Thing. This otherworldly creature strategically takes out the others in the camp one by one, appearing like they look like them, leading to paranoia within the party. Reviews have both praised the special effects achievements and criticized their visual repulsiveness. Many reasons have been cited for its failure to impress audiences. Competition from films such as E.T. the Extraterrestrial, which offered an optimistic take on alien visitation, opposed to The Thing's nihilistic tone. When it got released on video, it gained a cult following and is considered a cult classic.
Here's the thing.
So here's the thing. You guys just watched it, so what do you guys think?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think some of the obvious themes that we're seeing is like the Cold War era, don't trust your neighbor sort of thing going on, because, you know, we talk about the monster being the embodiment of the fear. Well, the fear is not trusting the people that you're closest to. So the fact that the monster can impersonate them is an embodiment of that.
Well, I also like tying into that, thinking about what Barbara Creed was discussing and how women are portrayed as the monstrous feminine. And notably in The Thing, everyone's a male, and the only thing capable of reproduction is the thing.
Oh,
that's super interesting.
And honestly, a lot of some of the stuff is almost like an exaggeration of maybe like the female form, you know, kind of thing at the beginning. Especially everything's opening up, heads are popping out.
Like the part with where he eats the arms, I'm like, that's a vagina.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, I feel like they definitely were trying to tap into that at a certain point. It kind of ties into the history of when the movie was made around the 80s. There was a whole cultural movement to more like feminism around that time. And notably, like, for instance, say like Terminator 1, like Sarah Connor was the damsel in distress, and in the sequel, she is like the action hero. So it's like kind of transforming females into the action hero. So it's almost like this is a reflection of men's fear of cultural shifts towards more feminism, especially where like these guys are more like very macho, especially McCready, who's the action hero of the movie.
yeah, and that might explain some of it, like the whole why is fire the method of destruction, right? Like, why is fire the weapon that is able to take down the monster? And that could also tie into that sort of macho, like, you know, fire being so chaotic and destructive ends up being like one of the most macho weapons that you could think of.
If I could throw it back to the bleed.
Somebody got to the blood!
It is the 80s. It is the peak of the AIDS crisis. The whole, like, the fear of, like, there's so much blood imagery and they have to test the blood. And it's just, like, you don't know who has the infection, you know?
Exactly. They walk amongst
you. They look just like you. So I think, like, throwing it back to the gays.
Yeah.
That's true.
Interesting. And then we could say, like, in theory, that also that infection of the blood, that is the fear and whatnot, translates equally to the fear of the body and the body changing and impersonating something else, and you know, trans culture and things.
Like, it
as
looks
well.
like you and it talks like you and it almost seems to think like you, but it's not like you, and it's capable of changing and like contorting itself into like different shapes.
It's just like nasty. It's just a whole lot of nasty.
Too many Twizzlers were harmed in the making.
Oh my god.
But here's the thing. Like, of course, I definitely feel like an easy thing to poke at is also
Poke.
Christiva's like the abject, because the whole thing of the abject refers to what we expel from the body or remove from oneself, and like this in turn is also known as the other. And without a doubt, the thing, like, it doesn't even have a title or a gender or whatever. It is the other.
Yeah.
It's like this thing that we just cannot comprehend.
That you can't even give a name to.
So it's, yeah, exactly. So it's definitely like a reflection of saying maybe during the AIDS crisis, it's like they're maybe referencing like, oh, they're no longer people. They are the other, you know?
Mm-hmm. Like how people call like trans people or gender non-binary people like it. Mm-hmm. They don't even
it's
use...
abjecting minority populations for sure. Or maybe not even minority, right? Something
that isn't you is now it. Or like that thing.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is factually correct, but I feel like it's something people are scared of no matter the decade, but it could be something in regards to like immigration fears.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I think definitely the discussion of the like you can't really have a discussion in this movie about the other and the abject if you don't mention like the double, right? Mm-hmm. As well.
Oh, of course.
Because the double is literally the impersonation telling the different story, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So what sort of story is the thing telling us about those people? Like, sure, it goes and it kills them, but it like, you know, those sorts of visions of like reproductivity and stuff, like it impregnates them and like physically takes them over.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like they're literally talking about like if it reaches a city, it's game over.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it immigrates to a bigger city, if it infiltrates a bigger population, we're fucked.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And in that sense, because it's placed within the Antarctic, I believe, it's like that is the society, like that is the cone of people. So it's honestly, it goes back to like the whole Cold War metaphors of like you can't trust your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone could be the thing.
Ice.
Yeah.
Oh no.
The Cold War.
Now welcome to our other new segment.
Cold
War.
ice.
Cold ice. Cold as ice.
Cold as ice.
Ice, baby.
But here's the thing, guys. Well, like another thing, you honestly, that's shown tensions between like the other in society also being like those who are culturally different, because we have the Americans on one hand, and at the very beginning, McCready, the action hero, also just keeps on referring to the Norwegians as Swedes. Like he can't even be bothered to he's just the other in his mind. Like it's just anyone that isn't American is just like a dumb Swede or whatever.
Is that your McCready voice?
That's my McCready voice.
Yeah, everyone else is dumb, even though he can't win at chess and blows up the computer because he's mad.
Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, I guess it goes to what it's like they call the Red Scare, which was
maybe that's why the red is so vibrant. The blood. Maybe that's why the blood is so vibrant.
Because it's the Red Scare.
Literally the Red Scare.
That's what they're scared of is AIDS and the Russians.
Yeah.
So that's actually a really good point, because like, you know, we were talking about colors and palettes a little bit, that, you know, whenever that's a little more bluey in tone and ice and white seemed to be when the characters like were less desperate and more in control, or they seemed to be more in control, and when things were chaos and there was more obvious that they didn't have control anymore, it was warm and fiery and awful. So maybe that's like the red also is that sort of vibrancy of like the Red Scare and everything. Yeah.
The main color palette was red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
True.
Oh my
America!
God.
Fuck yeah! Except for that one scene where it was like orange. But other than that, it was all like red,
but
white,
that's
and blue.
like, it's like red.
Everything is intentional.
Yeah. But honestly, though, I felt like it was so like American. Is it like nationalism? Is that the word I'm trying to say?
Mm-hmm.
Like the beginning with the Norwegian camp, they were basically like, oh, they couldn't destroy this thing, and now it's up to us, the Americans, to save the entire world.
It's like how they have to go places and like save their infrastructure.
Yeah.
I just love how at the very beginning, though, like from the get-go, we're guessing who could be the thing, even from the dog running up to what was his name?
Something with a C.
The dude with the plaid?
No, not Clark.
The Paul Giamatti
the guy that was
double.
like screaming and he had really long hands.
Yeah, the Paul Giamatti guy.
Yeah, he like was getting licked, I believe, at the very, very beginning. And that throughout the entire movie, I was thinking, oh my God, he's the Thing when I first watched it. And do you remember how we found out later the classical stoner stereotype character, also he passes the joint to Childs. I think that's how he got assimilated.
Yeah,
it's
probably.
like was just dormant.
There's just so many ways. I still don't understand where the one in the ceiling went. That still, like, there's one
That's what got the guy whose stomach opened, probably because that was off screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that's how the guy at the end got assimilated.
There's secrets in the random shots of the environment because they're showing you clues.
Yeah.
You can see like whose coats are on the rack, what doors are open, whose chamber doors are open now, which was originally closed. Even the scene where McCready's like, I left my light, like I didn't leave my light on, and then they go to check it out. That was whole like that.
It's vocalized, but inside there's the filmmakers putting their own ones that aren't vocalized within the dialogue as well. Yeah. That sort of goes back again to what you were saying before, how like all the establishing shots of the camp and everything in the beginning is because the camp is a character, because it's showing us this information, it's giving us clues, it's telling us, it's like it's unfolding the story for you, basically.
Right.
The camp as the character is almost like the narrator of the movie and going like, here's what's going on.
And how fitting is it that it concludes with it being destroyed at the end,
That made me so sad. I was so attached to it. I'm like, goodbye.
I just want the dog.
We could just talk. Yeah. We could even have a whole
when
segment.
They showed that picture, that like image of the axe and the dog's head, I was like, why? I didn't need to see that.
I was gonna say like we could even have a whole discussion about the ending.
Yeah.
What are you guys' thoughts on the ending itself with McCready being?
I like the idea that it's that both of them are the thing, and they're, because why in the world if he handed him that bottle, the bottle was filled with gasoline, and
that was shown in earlier scene
the earlier scene, and then he handed it to him and he drank the gasoline and didn't spit or anything like that, so it's obvious that he's the Thing, but then McCready just sort of laughs and says, I guess we'll just wait it out. That, like, McCready would immediately, like, the hero McCready that we know would immediately kill him and to destroy the Thing and hopefully survive. But the only reason why he wouldn't take action and not do anything is if he also was a Thing and he wanted them both to wait so that they could kill everyone else.
Yeah. I think it'd be so just funny if both of them were the Thing and neither of them knew that the other was a Thing.
Yeah.
And they're both kind of like, haha, yes, I am human.
Because they just want to wait it out, because the ultimate goal of the monster is to spread to the people that come and rescue them, right? So it makes sense that
they both like spring into action, start ingesting people, and they look at each other like the Spider-Man meme where they're like
pointing at each other.
And that's the only way they finally solve their differences.
Well,
like
another thing is like it could be interpreted that if McCready is the Thing, he's been in a lot of contact with the Thing, that he could easily
been it all along.
So when he passes the bottle, it could also be him sharing, because he was told not to share, everyone to eat out of cans, not to share, because it's like one little part of it in your body can take you over.
But did he drink from it before?
Well, the fact that it was open, and basically him sharing it, could be seen that he's also a Thing trying to infect Childs.
But when they're testing all of the blood, he literally wipes the scalpel on his pants
and
calls it a day, and then cuts the other person's thumb open.
It was the 80s. It was a different medical time. But also you could see the sharing of that drink as like a spreading of AIDS.
But yeah, like, I mean...
too, at the end when that happens.
They're like, ha ha ha.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable.
I don't think that word means what you think it means.
This is the Princess Bride segment.
Yeah, exactly. And now we come back to...
They both built up an immunity to the Thing by having to kill it so many times.
Yeah, exactly. They're holding a flamethrower, so they're obviously... It's inconceivable that they're the Thing.
Right.
Okay, but here's the thing. Robin Woods once mentioned about how I believe it was the monster is threatened by normality, as well as the fact that he discusses that I believe fear and cultural fear of the monster shifts with the time itself. So
it always returns.
And it always returns back, to the monster. So through that lens, what do you think we can talk about the Thing?
What were those journals? Were they journals that they found on the Thing's ship? Or were they journals that someone was writing about the Thing? Because, like, was the Thing coming from a planet...
the Norwegian?
Yeah, I guess. Because, like, was the Thing coming from another world that it ate up and was like, oh, I'm here to, like, eat up a new world because I guess I ate everything in the other world and I'm kind of bored.
They kind of discuss it in the sequel that...
Oh, but let's not talk about the sequel.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about the sequel.
I'm just throwing shit to the wind here. Like, this isn't me going, like, this is exactly what it is. Oh my god, I know everything. But, like, if it's the thing where it's, like, it always returns, like, it could be the sort of thing where it's, like, it eats a whole bunch of shit and then it gets, like, destroyed and then it comes back, eats a bunch of shit, gets destroyed, comes back over and over and over again because, like,
I think
if it always eats everything, there's nothing left to eat.
I think it's not trying to... It's just an animalistic instinct to survive. It doesn't have any motives. It doesn't have any real thoughts.
But it's smart.
It is smart. But I think it's based on just, like, spreading... Like, even a part of it, it's a natural instinct is to jump away from the purifying fire.
But it knows how to frame people.
Yeah,
like it can strategize. So that's
this is the thing. That's what makes it so scary because it's we can't figure out what it is. We can't discuss, like, it is so other that we're trying to wrap it around. We're like, what's its intentions? What's its motives other than to spread? But we're like, why if it's just animalistic? That's what I love about this movie is because just like the shot of McCready playing chess, it's just like it's a board game. It's literally a strategy between McCready, the humans, and the Thing.
And also a strategy game without understanding of motive, right? Like in chess, the only motive is just to win, just to consume all of the other players' pieces, right? Chess is just you need to consume all of the other pieces until you get to the king. And you have fully consumed them and they are unable to operate. If we're talking about aligning this theory with sort of Cold War era politics, then the Thing taking over and consuming is, I think, more about not understanding motives and, like, how warfare is so integrated within people that you know and everything like that, and not clear because there's, like, macro scale politics that wars operate on, but, like, micro scale strategies that they're doing it through. The fear of the unknown of what all those macro motives are, and then the fear of not understanding the micro strategies in which it's operating with.
Right. I love this movie. I love it so much. Yeah.
Just to go back to, like, the thing about the monster always returns in, like, a different cultural context, I think it was just interesting that the themes in this movie are really similar to Invasions of the Body Snatchers, where it's, like, fear your neighbor and everything like that, which is from, I think, what's that from, like, the 40s, I think? 50s?
The original one, are you
yeah.
I think originally it was 50s, right?
Yeah.
And then it came back
and, like,
again
this is the 80s.
With the home invasion as, like, a new wave of that sort of similar fear.
It came out in 1956.
Yeah. And I feel like this just has a lot of the same themes happening. And, like, it's from the 80s, so it's coming back, and it means something culturally different.
We're just blowing up all the houses. We gotta smoke them out!
Yeah, smoke out the Russians.
Because that would have been after World War II and fear of, like, Germany and stuff, and then the sort of revamping is the Russians and the fear
the Cold War.
The Cold War,
the Red Scare.
Yeah.
Always red.
Red.
Well, guys, those were the things. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you next spring.
Oh my god, you guys, Lachlan was the thing the whole time.